Today, I want to talk to you about immigration courts, what's going on right now, some new updates that are going forward, as well as just some standard procedures that everyone in removal proceedings should know. First, the immigration courts are open. They are conducting hearings. There are still some hearings being postponed. Um, Sometimes we get a reason, sometimes we don't. Um, but hearings are moving forward slowly but surely. Some hearings are in person, some hearings are by WebEx. That's the immigration court's version of Zoom. I guess it's a little bit more secure than Zoom and other video chat functions. But they are happening. For the most part, Zoom is working. There are sometimes some technical glitches, some video doesn't work, audio may cut in and out, but the judges are tending to be pretty forgiving. As to So if you do have a hearing, it would be important to check the court's website or to contact the court to make sure how your case is moving forward. I do recommend that if you do have a hearing, you log on to the immigration court's case status system. It's available online. Just Google EIOR case status. It'll come up, and in there you can put in your alien number, and it will tell you the date and time of your hearing, if there is one. If there's none coming up, it'll also tell you that. It'll tell you the judge and provide the court information. So things are moving. In February, effective February 11th, the e-filing will be required by the court. I know that this may be difficult for some people who are not as tech savvy, but ultimately I do think this is going to make things better. Right now, we either mail things in or we file them directly with the court, and unfortunately, filings get misplaced. They don't show up in the court's file. There was a substantial backlog of mail earlier in the pandemic. We were having hearings by video, and judges didn't have applications even though they had been filed months before. So this system is, I think, going to ultimately improve things. It is being used on certain cases right now. I have personally used it on a couple matters, and I can tell you we file motions and we're getting decisions faster on those motions. You're filing evidence or other applications, you're getting proof of filing right away and notification it's been accepted. And that's just great. You put it in the file and you don't have to worry about it. It's in the system. When the judges log in for hearings, they have everything there. If you're missing a document, for example, you lost your notice to appear or something like that, all you have to do is go in and your notice to appear is right there. You can download it, print it, whatever you need to do so you can take a look at it. You can also see if the government submitted any evidence, as well as look at any evidence that you've submitted. So moving forward, it's going to be great. I'm sure there'll be some glitches as it first rolls out for everybody, but again, this is something that has been rolling out slowly over the past few years. So again, progress, and hopefully ultimately meaning less trees will be killed, because I feel like in this line of work for years, I have probably killed way too many trees just by sheer amounts of paper. Now, just some general information about the immigration courts. The immigration courts have strict policies. They have what's called the Immigration Court Practice Manual. You can find it online. Again, just Google it and you'll find the link to it. That pretty much spells out the rules of the court. And it's not unique to the immigration court. Most courts have sets of rules beyond statutes and things like that. So the Immigration Court Practice Manual, if you do have a case, is a great resource. If, for example, the judge says, I want written pleadings, there's a sample of what it should look like. Um, all documents filed with the immigration court must include a cover sheet. If it's evidence, for example, let's say you have an asylum case and you want to submit some evidence like police reports, medical reports, um, statements from witnesses, newspaper articles, human rights reports, whatever it may be, you can't just submit those documents. You actually have to put them in a specific order. You have to create an index. You have to tab them using letters, so alphabetical order. So it starts with A, goes through Z, and then you do double A through double Z, and so on and so on. And then each one that you file has to have a certificate of service. So if the judge, and all evidence in general is supposed to be submitted at least 15 days before your hearing, and some judges set different deadlines. You could have what's called a 30-day call-up, meaning that your evidence has to be in at least 30 days before your hearing, or a 60-day call-up. And part of the reason is to give judges and government attorneys time to review documents. When you submit these documents, like I said, you can't just, here's my stack of papers in support of my case. No, you have to follow the manual of how they're supposed to be submitted and organized. This takes time. So if you do, whether you're doing this on your own or you're working with an attorney, you have to allow time for that. So if your deadline is, let's say, January 31st, you can't just start working on things on January 31st. You need to get things done. If you're working with an attorney, for example, I ask my clients to provide last evidence at least 1 week before the hearing, just to allot sufficient time to do the organization, the pagination, the tabbing, and everything as the court requires. This way we can ensure things are filed on time. Sometimes we have to make that even longer because maybe the judge has also requested a memorandum summarizing eligibility for the relief you requested, whether that's cancellation of removal or asylum. You really can't finish that memo until you have all the facts. So, make sure if you have an attorney or you're doing this on your own that you're working and doing things sooner rather than later. Yes, there are times when last minute evidence comes up and it's really crucial to your case. You should still submit that, even if your hearing is the next day. Prepare it and take it with you. Explain to the judge why it came so late. A lot of times, if you have a good explanation, it will still be accepted, but it can cause delays to your case. So ultimately, please just try to make sure you're complying with those deadlines. If you're working with an attorney, stay in touch with your attorney about the upcoming hearing. If we have a hearing, we try to reach out to clients at least 3 to 4 months before that hearing, review what's in the file already and what additional documents may be available, just to finalize everything. It's just a good way to move forward. Sometimes you get less notice and you have to work quickly, but in a lot of cases you do have time to get things. And listen, just stay in touch. Unfortunately, we have people who their hearing won't be for a year, 2 years, 3 years away. And, we put things in the calendar, we put reminders in, but unfortunately our client changes their phone number or they're not using that email address anymore or they've moved and we can't reach them. So if you are working with an attorney, please, they should be one of the first people you call when you move or change any contact information. One, because you have to notify the court, two, within 5 days, but two, so your attorney can notify you of changes. Sometimes hearings get moved up and you don't get that much notice. Sometimes hearings get postponed. Sometimes Um, TPS is announced from your country. Things change, and we want to be able to make sure we can get in touch with you. Um, if you are in removal proceedings, there is no requirement that you have an attorney, but please strongly consider working with an attorney. Um, check out that immigration practice manual. You're expected, just like an attorney, to comply with that. It can be difficult. In court, attorneys, judges, we have our own lingo. We have call updates. You know what that is? It's a deadline. Um, but we don't use those terms. Um, we refer to applications by their numbers. Um, we talk about memos and nexus and things like that that just may not be so clear to you. So please, um, I really do strongly encourage you to work with an attorney if you are in removal proceedings. If we can be of any help, please give us a call at 212-840-0050. Thank you and have a great day.